Greetings, everybody. Thanks for joining me again for another session. So we are going to be talking a little bit from Chapter 5 in Vertical Marriage, God's Amazing Design. And so this chapter we discuss, as you've perhaps already heard some other videos, kind of four main areas of things that come up just when a couple interacts. Life history, the need for love and respect, gender differences, right, brain chemistry. And I want to cover a little bit today the area of personality. Now, this is a vast topic, so I'm not going to take, an hour or 2 hours to try and unpack everything that has to do with personality. And as I'm recording this here, it's, the year is 2020, okay? So things have come a long way over the past decades in terms of the number of personality tests that are out there. So I just want to say that if you're an individual or if you're dating, right, single but dating, seriously dating, engaged, even married, understanding personality really, it kind of brings what I call some elasticity and room in the relationship to basically let the other person be who they are, and them let you be who you are, but understand one another's differences so you can complement each other. And as I'm fond of saying, that opposites usually attract, and then after marriage and into the first year of marriage, oftentimes opposites irritate, right? Because they're different. Those same differences that were kind of fun and cute and creative kind of, all of a sudden they become kind of burdensome. So what I'm going to do in this session is simply to give you mainly the personality profile that we discovered. We were first engaged going back, 40 years ago, so 1980, okay? We came across this particular profile I'm going to share with you. The name has changed on what it's called, but the test is exactly the same. And we took this while we were engaged, and it helped us immensely to understand each other and to give grace to each other. And I'm still using the same compass, so to speak, today, to this very day, almost 40 years into our marriage. These differences still manifest. So there's strengths and weaknesses to every personality, and the goal is to kind of move more up into your strengths as time goes by. But to this day, we are just opposite personalities. And so, and I want to say that if you hear this and you want to check out this personality profile that we used, I'll just throw the cover up there on the screen for you. It's called Wired That Way. It's available on Amazon. I think it costs something like $4. And so it's very affordable, and it's very short as well. It's just 40 questions, and you're given a set of 4 words to pick from. You have a list of definitions. So you look at the 4 words, you read the definitions for each word, and you think of, who am I like most of the time? Who am I in my relaxed state? So the key in taking this profile, I always tell folks, is to don't think of yourself at work because you may have to fill a function and be this way or be that way. Think of yourself in a resting state. Think of yourself on vacation or just at home, with no responsibilities, or think of yourself as a child. What were you like, just growing up, grade school, junior high, those times where you didn't really have a function to perform, so to speak. What were you like? What were your tendencies? And so I'm gonna recommend this particular profile, the Wired That Way. And I just want to say, if you've discovered something else, like the Enneagram or the DISC, or the Taylor-Johnson temperament analysis, or the Myers-Briggs, which I'll allude to in a moment. Whatever you've done, either for yourself or for your marriage, your relationship, if it's helped you and you found a niche, then learn from it, go with it, and give grace to each other, and be the best you, and let someone else be the best whoever they are. So Wired that way, I'm just going to throw up another graphic here that basically shows 4 squares. So in the Wired That Way profile, you basically, after you go through the 40 questions, you go through the list of the 40 lists of words, and then you score it. Generally, most people will have one column be like a highest score, and then another column be like second highest. And so that would be their personality blend. So going back to the squares, the colored squares, just put that up there on the screen again. So the yellow would be the popular sanguine personality. The red would be the powerful choleric. The blue would be the perfect melancholy, and the green would be the peaceful phlegmatic. Now, if you're a Winnie the Pooh fan, let me just say the yellow would be your Tigger, okay? Bouncing around, expressive, right? Verbal, jovial most of the time. Your red would be the rabbit, kind of task-oriented, a little gruff, getting things done, always having an agenda. Blue would be my friend Winnie the Pooh, just kind of thinking, pondering, right? And green would, of course, be my friend Eeyore, kind of chill, mellow, just moving along. So, for my wife and I, just so you know, she is a blend of the top 2 circles, the yellow and the red. She's the sanguine choleric. I am the melancholic phlegmatic. And so I'm the ponderer, the thinker. I love charts and graphs. I love to analyze data and just think about it and take my time. You know, there's no rush, just kind of chill, methodical, perfect, do it perfectly, right, as best as possible. My wife is more the expressor, more the doer, task-oriented, you know, so we've had an interesting marriage, a wonderful marriage over the years. We're just different, and so understanding these things is really helpful. So those are the 4 squares, and again, in the Wired That Way profile, there's also a very detailed explanation. What you saw on the screen was just the summary, 4-square summary. When you actually take the profile, you start looking at the strengths and weaknesses, there's a much bigger list of the yellow, red, blue, green, listing strengths and weaknesses in the area of your emotions, what you're like at work, and what you're like with your friends. So, you know, we are always giving this profile, the couples that we meet with, dating couples that are getting serious, engaged couples, married couples that never actually understood this. And it's so helpful. And so basically, again, the yellow is the relational, outgoing person, the expressor. And this little guy, this little girl, again, growing up, you know a child like this, you've seen them around, they're friendly and talkative. You know, nobody's a stranger. This is the child in the grocery store that's either in the cart or walking around with mom, and just, you hear them because they're usually always talking, asking questions. Maybe even they will see you and just randomly ask you a question and smiling. They're just relational. It just comes natural to them. They'll often stand out in the crowd. If you see them playing on the playground, or say in a you know, area where there's daycare or childcare going on, they generally are moving around, and they're just expressive and beaming, bright. They tend to have a short attention span, tend to be a little restless, but the world is the stage for this little sanguine. Then the choleric, the red personality, now that's more of the leader type, more dominant, more you could say controlling, not always in a bad way, but they have kind of an independent spirit. They will step out and try things maybe other children won't. They're a little more self-sufficient, and strong-willed and determined. Now, again, the thing with these different characteristics for all the 4 temperaments is that many people say, well, I can be all those things at different times. And again, I get that. But what we're looking for is stepping out of your function, not on your job, just at home, just by yourself or you and your spouse. What do you tend to be like? So the red cholerics, very straightforward. And usually, again, if you observe them in the playground or in a group of children, they will be the leader. They will be telling other children how to play, how to do things, and other children just seem to follow them. They're kind of the Pied Piper type. Then you have my favorite, the blue, okay, the melancholic child, very conscientious, the analyst, the thinker, the most gifted perhaps, but the most prone to depression. Something I have struggled with a bit over the years. Very deep thinkers, very creative. Again, all of these temperaments can be creative, but the blue, the melancholic, is just really, really in themselves, and they don't talk a whole lot, but when they talk, it'll be well thought out, it'll be deep. So in our marriage, my wife, first of all, she's a female, and they talk more. She's also a yellow expressor and a red, so she will talk more by virtue of her gender and by virtue of her temperament. And so, thankfully, I'm a good listener. So I don't mind that she's talking, and if she's talking too much, I just give the timeout signal and say, honey, give me some time. And then she understands, and then I get to express. So melancholics, blues, I wish that I knew growing up that blues need a lot more encouragement. They tend to be pessimistic. They're glass half empty type temperament usually. I married a glass half full optimistic woman. I'm so grateful for that. But I wish my parents knew about the temperaments, and I wish they knew that they needed to work with little Mikey and his blue personality, and I would have been a lot better. But again, you know, the melancholic child, they say that he gets the model airplane, puts it together at home, and it's got to look just like the one on the box, right? Because they tend to be perfectionists. And then we have perhaps the most enjoyable child to raise in a lot of ways is the easygoing phlegmatic, very amiable, very dependable, you know, calm and quiet, just easy to be around. I have discovered, and I've heard other people say this as well, that perhaps the best kind of friend you want to have, if you're just going by the four temperaments, would be the sanguine phlegmatic, because they're funny, they're optimistic and upbeat, but they don't have the red, they have the green. And so they're chill, they'll just kind of go along with things and be easy to be around. So I have found that the yellow, green or green, yellow is the easiest in a lot of ways to be around. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you choose to check out Wired That Way, again, it's only $4 at this current time if you buy it on Amazon. It's worth the investment. And you can also copy off some of the pages in there, so you don't have to, you know, you just buy, all you need to buy is one booklet. And then if you copy off the test page, which is just one page, and the scoring sheet, which is just one page, you can just, you know, reuse that one booklet for yourself, for your spouse, close friends, etc. So it's really economical. So with the temperament, there are blends, okay? So there's a primary and a secondary. So as I mentioned, I'm a blue-green. My wife, I think, is a red-yellow. And there's slight nuances, differences. I'm not going to go through them all, you know, for the sake of time here today. But so there could be a sanguine choleric, a yellow-red blend, or a red-yellow blend, okay? And then each of the four squares basically the same thing would apply. The only caveat here we sometimes come across is generally when you go across, so the yellow and the blue are like diametrically opposite. So temperament, which is more genetic, okay, personality can be shaped, personality can be masked. You may have come across a person in your travels that you didn't really know who they were, that what they were projecting or manifesting when you relate to them didn't really seem authentic or real. Then you saw them somewhere else and they were like totally different. So basically what they teach in Wired That Way, which is also a book It's a full book, which I've read, and there's also a video series, which I've watched. So, but what they teach basically is that someone that's genetically or temperamentally a yellow is not going to be also a blue. So again, there could be some characteristics from a blue showing up in any of these, you know, but basically when you test on this thing, we always have couples cross over and test each other. So we'll say to the girl, okay, we want you to take this for yourself. Okay, here's another sheet. Now think about your significant other here. Think about him and take one based on what you think he is. Then we do the same with him. So we have 4 results. Then we go over it with couples to see how well they know themselves, how well they know each other. And it's amazing, you know, scores of couples that we've given this test to, hundreds, that they say their eyes are open and they're like, oh, that would explain why we usually argue over this or we have tension over here. And some of it's just kind of funny sometimes, right? Like my wife, who's a red, task-oriented, moving from one thing to the next, yellow, you know, temperament. When she loads the dishwasher, she wants you to just get it done. She puts the stuff in. Perfectionist me, I come along and I've got time, right? I look at it, I'll rearrange plates, glasses, make it more efficient. So being that I'm blue, being that I'm a guy, that's how I look at it, and it's worth the investment. My wife's like, 1 task off the list, run the thing, doesn't matter if we could have fit in 3 more plates. Okay, little fun story there. So there's all kinds of different blends with these, and I'm just gonna put up another graphic on the screen for you. So here is the 4 temperaments, and this has the circles, which include all of the Myers-Briggs combinations. So many of you perhaps are familiar with the Myers-Briggs. I think I took it once, like years ago. But if you look at the circle, you see the choleric, then going down to the sanguine, across to the melancholic, up to the phlegmatic. And so you see true choleric, they have their ESTJ. And so the basic thought here is that this person is like the supervisor type. They're eager to take charge. They like to get things done. A true choleric. Then you have the true sanguine, the ESFP, also known as the performer. Very spontaneous, very fun-loving, energetic. Again, doesn't mean that we all can't be that way at times, but this person is just naturally that way. Then you have the true melancholic, the INFP. And again, we're just casually going through these. I am not an expert in the Myers-Briggs, so just touching upon it because I know a lot of people are. But the true melancholic, the INFP, is also known as the healer. Very imaginative, idealists, guided by their own core values and beliefs. And then finally, the true phlegmatic, INTJ, you know, analytical problem solvers, etc. So if you look at all these circles, and again, if you're familiar with Myers-Briggs, this is making sense to you right now as you look at these circles. If you're not, thank you for taking the time to at least hear me out here for a few minutes. Just trying to basically give a little more insight into how these things all work together. And so in these circles are all the various combinations as the circles overlap. So the choleric circle overlaps with all the rest, phlegmatic circle overlaps with all the rest, etc. And so there's kind of an intersection, and then the other blends also come in there as well. So as I mentioned earlier, for our purposes and for the test that we use, the diametric opposites, someone that's the rabbit's not going to be Eeyore, okay? So the driver, the red driver, task-oriented, getting things done, is not gonna have the phlegmatic tendencies on a day-to-day, regular basis. Okay, so again, just to emphasize, for function, we can be any of these, but what we're looking for in marriage is to kind of discover, who your spouse is, for the most part, at their core, to understand them, understand yourself, and this gives a lot of grace in a marriage. So thank you for staying with me here for over 20 minutes, and we just barely scratched the surface. But I want to emphasize to you that this has worked so well for us, so it's the one that we use. Wired That Way. Check it out, and God bless you as you seek to understand your own personality and your spouse and close friends. So grace to you today. God bless.